Hello everyone, I'm Curious, and today we're going to be taking a look at this thing. So this is the Tilapia by Leedle Dynamics, and it is a side prime kind of bolt action shotgun with no hardware involved aside from some elastic cord. This is 4mm elastic, and this is the only thing required aside from a 3D printer to build this entire blaster. So this is a silly shell shotgun that uses these guys, which come in all kinds of different varieties. It holds 5 of them. Even the magazine spring tension is elastic powered. And the ejector. And the ejector works pretty well. So it's a shotgun, uses the silly shells, and has a little bit less power than a breacher or battle axe. Even if you max out the elastic, which I don't recommend doing because it causes all kinds of other problems, you'll hit like 75 FPS with 6 half darts, whereas the breacher can fairly reliably do 80 or 85 with the same shells. But even though it's a little less powerful, the one big advantage that Tilapia has is just how small it is compared to the breacher. It's a pretty compact shotgun, and if you get the elastic strung correctly, it's pretty comfortable to use. And what you basically have is a battle axe, but smaller, and you're only sacrificing about 10 FPS. And it's just much more compact and maneuverable. You can see on mine I've got some shell holders I added, and then this grip in the front to just kind of give me somewhere to rest my hand when I'm not priming it. And I think it's really well designed, comfortable blaster. It has some issues. It's clearly a first draft of several different ideas that Leedle's been trying. And I had quite a few issues putting it together. But now that it's finally together, I really like it. So let's talk about some of those issues. One minor thing, this stock is too small. It's got the right length, I think it's comfortable that way, but this pad on the back is so tiny that it just kind of digs into your shoulder too much. Running around with this thing all day at a Nerf war, I ended up with my shoulder feeling kind of bruised just because this thing is just a little bit too small. Like if it was a wider, taller pad, it would be a lot more comfortable. When you first make it, you've got these little nubs that come out on either side of the magazine. And this one is in a really dumb place because it blocks this pin. And you need to be able to get to this pin if you ever have any issues in this blaster, because this is one of the ones to take out to actually get to the internals. So obviously I sawed this off so that I could get to this pin, because I had to open up this thing several times. Speaking of taking it apart, one other thing I added was this little hole in here. And what that does is let me take the pin back out of the plunger head, because I had to swap that out. So just that hole aligned with the plunger head pin and removing this thing are 2 real easy changes that I think Leedle should do just to make this easier to service. The trigger feels kind of crappy, but it gets better, and especially if you don't over tighten the elastic, it feels fine. I recommend if you build one of these, do not use a textured build plate. You can see mine's very textured, and that adds just a little bit of extra thickness in between all these parts. And this has so much tension forcing it together. It was really hard to assemble the first time, and I think I have slightly stretched the bars. It was under so much tension. I think you'll have much better luck just using a smooth build plate on your 3D printer if you're building one of these. Let's go ahead and take it apart. So I've got this little pin that I have no idea where it came from, but it's great for getting into this blaster. So you got to remove these 5 pins at the back. Let's see, there's a lot of tension on this thing. The holes didn't quite line up because of the textured surfaces. I really had to force this together. You can see the stock comes off, and this part wants to come off, but you can't really take it apart. I guess you can just pull the whole plunger head out, right? Yes. So you can pull the whole plunger head out from the back. And you can see I use the TPU plunger head. I've had a lot better performance with that, and I feel like it's not going to break. Just having the squishy cap give it a lot more padding when it's ramming against itself. I don't think this elastic works that good as a shock pad, and I don't feel like it's as good of a seal as this TPU plunger head is. It does work, but it's a little bit of a pain to assemble and get inside the plunger tube, and I just think that the TPU head, if you have the ability to print TPU, definitely go with that if you can. And here you have where most of my issues building the blaster came from. This is the core of the whole blaster, you can see the elastic is wrapped 3 times around this whole cage thing. And it's got 2 little rollers at the front here. And you're pulling this back, and it catches on the catch inside here. The tension of this elastic is also keeping the catch engaged, which is really interesting. It's a cool idea, and it works really well. This whole thing is self-contained. The trigger just slots into this bottom slot and engages the catch in order to fire it. But my issues came from this cage in the center and the 2 pins that hold it together. There we go. Unprime it that way. So if I kind of move this elastic out of the way, you can see that we've got these rollers and these pins, and then these 2 slabs that are pinned together. And the build guide doesn't stress how important it is for these to be glued together and solid. If this flexes apart and tries to come apart at all, it completely makes the blaster inoperable. It won't prime anymore, and then eventually these pins will try to break, or they'll slip out and their whole thing falls apart and you have to restring it. You can see there's a bit of extra little holes here where I ended up trying to drill and fix the pins in place earlier. Once one of the pins broke, I decided to instead take 2 longer pins that I had printed extras of, and I drilled the holes all the way through these pieces instead of just having 2 recesses, and put these pins all the way through and solvent welded them in place. So now this is one solid part, and now it's not coming apart, and now it seems pretty sturdy, and I've had good luck with it. You should be fine just following the regular build process, but make sure you glue these 2 pins in place so that these 2 plates can't spread apart after the blaster's put together, or you'll have all kinds of problems. This is the load-bearing piece making the whole blaster work. This whole thing just goes right back in there. I think it's cool that he's managed to make all the elastic internal, like you can't even see any of it from the outside. I'm going to go ahead and take the front off just to show you some other stuff. So you kind of have to use a claw hammer to get these pins out. I wish there was like a little bit of a lip, just a tiny bit, that kept these kind of poked out slightly so that they'd be easier to get under and take out. Because you can see I've already kind of scuffed up and damaged this area opening this blaster up a few times. And this one's even harder to get to because the magazine's here, but I've done this so many times that they've kind of got divots worn into them where the claw hammer can get under them pretty easily. And then we have this pin that needs to come out. And this can't just be one pin all the way through like this bottom one is, because the shell and the breech actually go right through there, and it has to have some separation. So we'll take this out, and the whole front comes off. You can see I added this grip to the Picatinny rail down here, and I like how it feels. It gives it a good place to put my hand. The magazine comes out, then you can see just this kind of self-contained, really cool thing where the elastic is twisted around this central axle, and it just holds the shells. It won't hold them on its own. They'll just pop right out because it relies on the actual roof of this thing to keep the shells in place. These sharp angles here, you can see I ground them down quite a bit because I kept cutting my hand on them, reaching in and out of here, putting shells in place. So maybe that's something maybe Leedle should think about, softening just these kind of teeth in the main area that you're putting your hands in and out. And this whole bolt comes out. You can see it's got a little ejector grabber. Well, it's more, this is the thing that grabs the shell and forces it to seal against the bolt. And here's where, if you wanted to replace the plunger head without taking the back off, you can see you can get to the pin on this side, but not on this side. So that's why I drilled this hole right here. And another really cool thing that Leedle did with this, so you can see these rails, these orange rails that go all the way down this channel. Leedle's designed it so that these are the only surfaces that this bolt is sliding against. So it's a lot smoother than something that would be just 3D print surface to 3D print surface. There's still some of it, but it's a lot less zippy than you would expect from something that is 3D printed bolt on 3D printed channel, because he's got these smooth rails that reduce the contact surfaces. So that's just cool. It's got this big ejector arm here, and that's what pops the shells out when you push the bolt back. The whole thing works really smoothly, especially after you lube the crap out of it. Now the rest of this is not really made to be taken apart after you put it together. Like, you can take the handle and this part off pretty easily, but these pins are not meant to come back out. They are short little pins that only go this far in, and there's no way to get back into them. But everything you would really need to get to, you can get to from the front or back, and there's nothing that you would need to service in here. You've got the ejector arm here, but you can get to that by taking out this white piece, and the knot for it is right here, so you can redo that elastic without having to take any of these pins out. So that's pretty cool. This sight back here, you can see that I've blocked it with shell holders, but it's totally useless because you can't really get your cheek down here to actually line these sights up. I find that the front sight is kind of nice, and I just use it by itself because it's a shotgun. You usually only have a front sight, but I can see if you had the stock delete version, maybe you would like hold this in front of your face and try to line up the sights. But for the most part, you're not going to want to bother. That would be super awkward to aim. And you're going to want to arc this thing anyway. It's a shotgun. It's fairly short range. You're going to want to arc it to get the maximum reach you can out of those darts. So that rear sight didn't need to be there. And without the rear sight there, you could have more rail going back and have more ammo holder space, which would be kind of nice. And the only other thing I'll say about building this blaster is that you don't want to max out this elastic. And what you would do to max it out is you prime it like this and then stretch it as far as you possibly can. Mine has a little bit of give to it still, where I can still stretch it just a little bit, and that makes the whole blaster so much smoother. I initially tried maxing it out, and not only was it slowly breaking itself, but the catch was very unreliable. It was super hard to prime, and the whole thing just felt awful to use. And just a little bit extra slip in here has made a world of difference. It's already weaker than the breacher when it's maxed out, so you might as well make it work smoother and be more reliable and drop another 5 FPS. And you really don't want an unreliable catch in something with an open breech that you're putting your hand in to load shells. So let's put this thing back together and I will do some firing demonstrations. See, even on the front, I have a little bit of tension here where I really got to hold it together to get these pins in. And I think the whole thing is probably a little smoother to build if you're not working with a textured build plate. Okay, it's not lined up right or something. Gotta hold it, and then there we go. Perfect. Yeah, and these holes line up now, but they didn't when I started. And that's why I think these bars have been forced to stretch, because I really had to force them on. I think that just having the textured build surface in all these interfaces just gives you a little extra thickness, and you don't want that when the tolerances for where these pins go are already pretty tight. Ta-da! Now we have our tilapia. And you can see I added a little bit of foam padding to the stock because it was just a little too small and kind of biting into my shoulder a little bit too much, so that gave me a bit more comfort. Now let's go shoot it. Alright, first we're going to start with standard silly shells. So this is 8 half darts, 6 half darts, 4 half darts, 2 half darts, and 1 mega dart, half mega. Alright, mega dart, 89, that's not bad. 2 half darts, 90, 4, 69, 6, 62, and 8, 36. Definitely didn't like the 8. It's like usual with these shotguns. The sweet spot is in the 6 half dart shell, and 8 is just too much. So let's get some numbers with a better 6-shot shell. I'm just going to load 5 of these. 58, 65, 66, 66 again, 61. So mid-60s with 6 darts. The highest I've seen this blaster do is 75 with those shells, but that was with the string maxed to the point where the blaster was awful to use. But here we're getting like standard Nerf performance out of 6 half darts at once. Alright, I've got it loaded up. I've loaded 10 shells. I got 5 in there, 3 on the ammo holders, and a couple other to the side. And let's make a mess. Reloading. Not as smooth to load as a breacher. Basically the same as a battle axe. And one mega dart. I'll get more shells. Okay, 5 more. It's just too much fun. Let's finish them off with the Lunka too. You didn't see that. Alrighty. Thanks for watching. Please check out my Patreon if you'd like to support more videos like this. Just wanted to show off yet another fantastic design by Leedle and a few small things that he could improve on it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see you next time, and this has been Carius reminding you to have fun. You're being observed. You sweetheart. And making little biscuits.